would someone be over here?
You got it!
Never underestimate an Igan.
This is undefended. And us.
Our forces will join up there. That's enough.
You'll ride with me.
I saw you coming.
Did your father ever tell you why my bones ache in the weather? War. Their soldiers killed everyone.
I do not fear our enemy. They talk of peace and dream of war. Our people deserve to be freed of the oppressor's grasp.
Vengeance is a lonely path, Naoe. Believe me, there are other ways to heal.
People so quick to abuse their power do not deserve to keep it.
There is much we will learn from each other, Yasuke.
You can see when two people fit, when they will be better together.
There is no honor in preying on the weak.
Together, we will bring justice back to the people.
Fukujiyama. At last. The fields are busy. A big harvest requires many hands. And merchant looks uneasy.
I will not tolerate this disrespect. No, please.
Well, you are a friendly beast, are you not?
Samurai sir, this way, I beg you. Hurry sir, please.
Right behind you, little one.
Oh Baba, I brought someone.
Ikimaru, I wonder where you went. samurai. One that does not hail from these lands.
I am a stranger, yes. But you have nothing to fear from me.
Ha! I have enough to fear from the men of Kochiyama. They abuse their power, taxing us again and again, leaving us only scraps. I bet they are in the market now, along the main road. A stranger might make good merit, ridding a village of a threat like these men.
Is that so? Then I shall see it done. For this life, if not the next.
You miserable wretch!
More division among the people here. More corruption. Such beauty, shadowed by suffering. What is happening here?
This isn't your fight, samurai. I told you, keep walking. Make your peace!
They were going to kill me. Thank you. There's another. Up the road toward the castle. A corrupt samurai named Fujioka.
Protector turned persecutor. Greed cannot rule this village. Not while I have breath in my lungs and a blade in my hand.
I said kill him! I'll wash away his failure with your blood.
You will have to spill it first.
Who do you think you are?
For the people, I am justice. I was going to handle that.
Too slow. What did you find?
The samurai has been stealing from the villagers. He has been starving the people here for some time.
So now we know who he worked for.
A daimyo in Fukuchiyama Castle.
We should go.
Not before we send our allies to look for him. He'll be difficult to find.
The daimyo. He's there.
Who will take the lead?
We can sneak in.
or charge through the front gate.
It's almost dark. No one will see me. You're mine now, Snake.
Who did that?
Lord Hayashi cannot seem to stay in his quarters.
Yes. The Lord places beside the
You dig himself a trench with those nightly footsteps. That poor grave.
A grave, huh? He's coming. I need to hide.
useless, all of you! First, Fujioka dies in the street at the hands of some stranger! And then you serve me scalding tea? Besides ruining its delicate flavor, I nearly lose my tongue for business!
Fujioka must have been the samurai Yasuke took out. Good riddance.
Take your tongue!
A daimyo like that deserves a slower death than the one I'm about to give him.
Lord Hayashi has been assassinated! Kill her! Let's get her! Do not let that shinobi escape!
I've shed all the blood I need. Time to go.
Stop her! Hurry up and kill her!
two being allies then.
Who are you? Who do you serve?
All I have ever known in my life. Our land. Our customs. My family. Burns in the name of unification.
A frog in a well who knows nothing of the sea. The ocean's filled with new ships, but they all come from the same river. Greed. Power. Vengeance.
And you? Will you continue down that river? Or choose another path beyond what we see?
Then we must look for it together. We must learn to trust, rebuild.
And follow the blade.
I said, who do you serve?
We are the shadows.
That serve the light.
One thing we really wanted to do at the start is deliver on great player fantasy. And as we started diving, we had two emerging player fantasies that were awesome, the shinobi and the samurai. What we didn't want is try to dilute them into one fantasy. We really wanted to explore both sides. So that's something where we said, well, we need two characters.
The setting that we had, the Azuchi Momoyama period in feudal Japan, was such a nuanced time. So it was really interesting to be able to work with dual protagonists and develop these two characters as individuals, because we really had the opportunity to explore this era by playing off these two different perspectives.
As we worked our way through it and came up with a dual protagonist, it became very clear that Naoe is the stealth character and Yasuke is the fight character. Speed and agility on one side, and brawn and strength on the other. They differ in every possible way we could make them differ.
Our Our shinobi, Naoe, is the imagined daughter of a legendary Igan shinobi, Fujibayashi Nagato. And up until this point, she's actually been quite protected from a lot of the horrors of war that have been going on in other parts of Japan. So this is going to be her first real taste of what lies beyond, and it has a profound impact on her.
I wanted to have the stealth as a core pillar in Assassin's Creed Shadows. Player will recognize the classic Assassin's Creed experience in Naoe, but we're adding a lot of things that make her super unique, so she's the best assassin ever.
We wanted Naoe to be extremely fast, efficient, acrobatic. We've worked a lot to make sure that she has the coolest, most spectacular parkour we could give her. She can squeeze in tight corners, she can go prone, meaning that the character can go underbelly and just crawl around in the dirt and disappear from view. We really wanted to leverage all the light elements that come with our new tech and use it in a core way for our shinobi fantasy specifically. So what that means, at night, you have to read the environment and hide in the pockets of shadows that are cast naturally in the world. And that affects how NPCs can see you and if they can sense you at all.
What we want the player to experience is the feeling of being the predator. So you feel like a ninja, you can break light, you can vanish in the shadows, and you're flipping on roof with the physics-based grappling hook, so the stealth is more rich than ever, and you really feel that she's like a blade in the shadows.
Yasuke is our first historical protagonist in Assassin's Creed. What we know about Yasuke historically is just a bit, but it was enough to get the team really excited about the opportunity to work with him as a character. He can fight his way out of anything, but he's also super smart and can think his way through things equally as well, and is going to be somebody who always has a commanding presence.
So especially in combat, when we think about Yasuke, it's really about dictating how the fight will go. And to do so, we created a mechanic called the posture attack. So he can chamber an attack, and then he can launch that attack to do massive amount of damage and take out anyone.
Yasuke is very, very strong. He can barge through reinforced doors, he can lift heavy objects that Naoe can't, but that means that he's somewhat slowed down compared to Naoe.
That hurts.
On the ground, that's where he shines.
We have two characters who have such different gameplay styles. So for every situation, every gameplay moment you're going to encounter, you really need to think through everything from these two perspectives.
Blood must be paid in blood, Yasuke.
We always want to respect player choice, so you can do quests with any character. So if you are Yasuke, you play with his strength, but also with his weakness. Same for Naoe. Each character has their own skill trees, but also they can master the different weapons. So it's not just about stats, it's about the player competency to really understand how the different mechanic works.
They have different speeds, they have different HP, they have different gear sets, so they're very unique and they're a great balance of two player fantasies.
The most exciting part of having our dual protagonists is the distinction and the fact that they don't really overlap. Narratively, they have common goals and they are aligned on what they want to do, but the way they go about it is drastically different. Sometimes playing Naoe, even if you're very good, you'll hit a wall and some enemy is going to kick your ass and you go, you know what, let me switch. And the same is true for Yasuke. Sometimes you'll get a setup, a couple enemies are high on rooftop that you cannot quite reach and having to go, you know what, let me switch back to Naoe. And having this push-pull that players get to experience of which characters is good in what situation, it gives us lots of levers to play with and try to break the mold, I think is the most fantastic thing we've achieved with our dual protagonist from a gameplay perspective.
From this point, we are with Naoe inside the Fukujiyama Castle. Feudal Japanese castles are amazing playgrounds as they offer a lot of opportunity to play in them in a stealth way or rather in a fight-oriented.
In the following sequence, you can see what's new in terms of parkour and stealth. First, our grappling hook, it's fully physics-based, so your speed and direction can affect where you go. You can also assassinate from the grappling hook, as you can see now. We brought back the cover system to sneak and peek, so you can use your tool from there, you can also observe your surrounding. You can now use prone and crawl in tall grass, So you can hide, you can go under small openings. So it's really useful to sneak around.
You're mine now, Snake.
But one of the big novelties is the dynamic perception of the enemies. They are affected by light and shadow. So here you can see Naoe can break the light and able to vanish and reduce the detection time. So it's a lot easier to quickly move undetected. The weapons of Naoe are great for combat, but also for stealth. Each weapon has a specific type of assassination. Like here with the Kusarigama, you can also assassinate your enemy, but at range. With Naoe, you'll feel like a shinobi with all the new animation we added to make her a lot more agile and faster when doing parkour and everything she does basically.
Naoe is an agile, self-focused shinobi who will use noise, light and shadows to evade detection as enemies respond to their changing surroundings. Naoe is currently making her way to reach her target. She's going through some elite samurai houses, and as she progresses, the player will see and discover other iconic areas of the castle, such as the daimyo quarter.
The grappling hook can be also used to grab enemy, which is very useful to move them quickly and dispose of them in the better spot. It's much more efficient than just carrying dead body, for example.
It's giving the player the option to decide if they want to kill or not.
We have a couple of abilities, we have gear, we have weapons that can bring down enemies until they are wake up by other people. Like you saw with the Kusarigama, the katana also have special assassination. You can stab people through shoji door and stay mostly silent. So depending on the weapon you have equipped, you have a different assassination opportunity.
He's coming. I need to hide.
In interior, there are places to hide, but one of the cool ones is the beam that you can use to grapple on the ceiling. It's really useful to not being spot, of course, but also wait for an opportunity to assassinate.
Here we saw a sudden weather state change that triggered a thunderstorm.
The noise and the rain and the wind cover your footstep and also your action. The demo is in spring, but in winter the old pan will be frozen, so you can't use the same tactic. You will have to use prone in deep snow or use the kunai to deal with the target at distance. Another cool shinobi trick you can see is Naoe using the breathing stick. With that you can stay hidden underwater and wait for the perfect opportunity to assassinate or just sneak around. If you're detected, you can choose to escape to return to your stealth loop or go straight in combat. Naoe is choosing combat with the Kusarigama, a versatile weapon that can use the cycle in one hand and the weighted chain in the other, allowing some range and melee fight depending on your attacks. In this case, the player decided to escape after many guards joined the fight. Even if Naoe can be very deadly, she doesn't have a strong armor like Yasuke, so it's a lot more risky when you fight multiple enemies at the same time. Anyway, in this case, she already achieved her objective. She killed the daimyo, so all is fine. We just saw the infiltration at night with Naoe. You can also imagine the other option of taking Yasuke and breaking through the front door. Day, night, weather, even season can affect the challenges on your path.
Thanks for watching. We hope that you've enjoyed this presentation. Assassin's Creed Shadows will be launching on November 15.
There is something interesting to discover following that path. It can be secrets, it can be loot, targets, everything that fuel your progression.
Fukujiyama. At last.
We wanted to showcase one of the many castle towns that the game will have. In Assassin's Creed Shadows, you'll be exploring a dynamic and ever-changing open world, all of which is affected by dynamic seasons and weather system. The wildlife is now more than ever part of the game ecosystem and biomes. In Assassin's Creed Shadows, a lot of the game wildlife will evolve and change colors through seasons, and the player will even see puppies, mostly in the springtime.
Well, you are a friendly beast, are you not?
The goal is to have a more natural behaviors and awareness systems.
Psst. Samurai sir, this way, I beg you.
Such beauty, shadowed by suffering.
You're about to see Yasuke in action. In that sequence, Yasuke is going to find one of his targets.
What is happening here?
We'll have a lot of target to hunt around Japan, and this zip cam and celebration is used to highlight those moments when you find them.
I told you, keep walking.
Let's see some combat now.
The notion of dynamism was also applied to our props that are, for most of them, breakable.
Yasuke is using a kanabo, so it's a big, massive weapon, slow but very impactful. It's the best weapon to break enemies' armor. It's also a good tactic to remove armor first because it reduces the time to deal with your opponents. You can see the yellow bar under the enemy. It represents the armor, and once it's broken, it's a lot easier to land hits and inflict damage. Attacking and defending charge up your adrenaline meter. Once it's full, you can spend all those resources to push back or knock down or inflict damages, and even put the enemy vulnerable. One of the big combat novelty is the posture system. You can hold your attack and posture at any moment inside a combo. Those attacks inflict massive damage and can also branch into execution. But of course, if you use those attacks, you expose yourself. So the key is to really master the timing and learning enemy behavior. In the end, your competency can give you an edge over your stats.
Persecutor. Greed cannot rule this village.
The players always have two weapons at the same time, so they can freely switch between both of them. You can see here Yasuke has the classic katana, and he's using one of his unique moves, the sheeted attack. Now you can concentrate on the target. You can see the katana is a lot faster and versatile. Looking at the target, you see he's a lot more reactive and defensive. If you're taking the posture like right now, he's also using one of his posture against you. So it creates really this dance between the two fighters. The enemy reactivity really pushed the player to use all his tools. So the parry, you need to react, you need to read the enemy to find the best opening and land the posture attacks when it's best. Yasuke and Naoe have their own personal story and their own life. But once they allied, they cooperate to achieve the common objective.
Too slow.
It means you can also switch at any moment in the open world. Of course, not during the infiltration or when you're fighting, but otherwise the players can really choose the character they want at any time and choose how they want to play them.
We should go.
Not before we send our allies to look for him.
In this sequence, Yasuke is suggesting to use the spy network. It's a new system that we introduced in Assassin's Creed Shadow to support the shinobi fantasy and help the player to find their objective. So you can send your spy to scout areas and spot your targets or the quest objective you have. Sometimes we have both characters in the cutscene where you can pick the one who answers or ask questions. At the end, you can also pick the character you want to continue with. You can choose between Naoe being more stealth-oriented or Yasuke being a bit more focused on fight.
But be careful.
With our dual protagonists, we have two fantasy, the samurai and the shinobi. We want the player to experience both, and we cannot squeeze both fantasy into one character because samurai and shinobi came from a different social class. They have different lives, so we cannot really mix them together.
The historical character of Yasuke presented a really exciting opportunity for the narrative team. We approached it in the same way that so much of the work is done in Assassin's Creed, which is really in terms of research and history first. Not a lot is known about him, but what we did know, or we do know, is that he arrived in Japan in 1579, right when our game starts. And that he had relationships with some of the most interesting people in our setting, like Oda Nobunaga, the Portuguese, and Jesuits, which made it very sort of tantalizing and enticing from a narrative perspective to come in and start weaving these facts with story in between.
The more we read about the character, the more he was inspiring for us. He's a foreigner discovering Japan, and we thought it's the perfect fit because he's discovering Japan and you are discovering Japan also.
And on the flip side, we have Naoe, who comes from the province of Iga, which is a remote mountainous area, fiercely independent, known as the birthplace of shinobi. So they're very contrasting perspectives that really expose a lot of different sides and facets of the era.
When Oda came, he completely destroyed Iga. You have Yasuke and Oda that coming to destroy the shinobi. So it can kind of create this interesting tension between two characters.
We were able to connect her to the province of Iga and the legendary Igan shinobi historical figure, Fujibayashi Nagato, who's her father in the game. So we understand why she has the skills that she has and the values that she learns from her father in the people of Iga, which are valor, benevolence, and wisdom. And as a young person still at the start of the game, we get to see now we acquire even more of that wisdom as the story unfolds.
And if you ask anybody, it's super clear that samurai will be combat heavy and a shinobi will be stealth heavy. It creates this distinction right away. Yasuke can fight with all his advantage, his stature, like he's a big guy, he can break door, he can fight multiple enemies, he can break armor. Compared to Naoe, like her character and their outfit, it's really about being stealth, being unseen. She's the only one with the hidden blade, so they have clear advantage that put them into the stealth and the combat, even if they can do a bit of both.
They're a really great pair together because on one side we have Naoe, who's very intense and passionate and determined woman who is very set on her goals. She's kind of got her heart on her sleeve and she'll say what she feels in the heat of the moment. And this intensity that she brings as a shinobi, but that she also brings to her relationship. And this balances very well with Yasuke, who is sort of a thoughtful, level head to Naoe's fiery passion. We really thought about somebody like Yasuke historically who was able to come to Japan and have the life that he did there, to enter service for Oda Nobunaga and achieve all of the things that he did. Like, what kind of person would go through all of this? So our Yasuke is very intelligent, thoughtful, and respectful of this culture that he encounters, and that makes him a very nice sort of counterpart to Naoe. He's a bit mysterious as well, and that's something we get to see unfold as the game progresses.
Hello, this is Iga Milne, the Assistant Director of Cinematic Design on Assassin's Creed Shadows.
And I'm Jonathan Dumont, Creative Director of Assassin's Creed Shadows. And today we're going to take a look at our reveal trailer of Assassin's Creed Shadows.
From the beginning, we really wanted to try to create this atmosphere of danger. So we're getting glimpses of our shinobi protagonist, Naoe, as she chases down a target through the shadows. We want it to feel as though she has complete control over her environment, and a real homage to old ninja films where we just get like little glimpses of her in the background, not really sure what we're seeing. And finally we get her incredible reveal here, cloaked in shadows.
Naoe is from Iga. She is a farmer warrior, daughter of Fujibayashi Nagato. She is a capable person, let's say that. As we were going to learn in the trailer, she will be taking on a role of protector.
All I have ever known in my life.
What we're looking at is the province of Iga, the homeland of Naoe. It's isolated a little bit in the mountains, and they were home of the shinobi. They come from here, or at least a portion of them come from here. And the interesting thing is, once we traveled to Japan and we visited this province, it came very clear how that world came together. Like, so it's sort of isolated in the mountains, sort of kept to itself. It's a very good representation, in my opinion, of that place.
Our land. Our customs. My family. Burns in the name of unification.
So what we're seeing here are the troops of Oda Nobunaga. In 1579, there was the first attack from Oda Nobunaga's clan, and then in 1581, there was a second attack, a much more violent one, where Iga got crushed. And what we're seeing here is the Oda troops marching into the province of Iga.
Bringing split screen into the trailer was part of our attempt at formulating an homage towards a lot of Japanese media and culture. And so we try to incorporate some of that style into the game as well. It's reflected in a lot of our cutscenes and cinematics. And we thought it'd be really cool to bring that on as early as possible. And so we pushed for it in the reveal trailer as well. It allows us to kind of show off both protagonists at various points in their lives and how maybe that relationship can change over time.
When we have Yasuke that turns around and says,
"You are still a frog in a well, who knows nothing of the sea."
It is a proverb from Japan. For us, sort of resonates with both their journey. As they open their eyes or know a little bit more, things are not necessarily as they seem. And that's sort of a driving force for them. That's what is going to unite Naoe and Yasuke. That's something that's bigger.
The ocean's filled with new ships.
So here we're in Sakai, a big port in Japan. The ships that we are seeing are Portuguese ships. They are a version of the black ships or a lot of the merchant ships that were coming in and out of Japan at this point. A few came to Sakai, but mostly in Nagasaki, but for the sake of the trailer, it's happening in Sakai.
Greed.
The person we're seeing on screen is Oda Nobunaga. So he is known for being one of the three great unifiers of Japan. A very polarizing character, depending on which side you were.
We're seeing Yasuke's first audience here with Oda Nobunaga, and one of the reasons why this meeting could even happen is due to Oda's deep relations with the Portuguese through trade, which resulted in him becoming quite a force to reckon with when it came to the use of Teppo. All this to say, Oda Nobunaga is an incredibly powerful figure at the time, very important to our story as well.
There are a lot of speculation about Yasuke's arrival in Japan. The most common one is that Yasuke came in a couple of years before this meeting, and he learned Japanese quite fast, and he was very fluent into the Japanese culture, and it impressed Oda. So his stature, of course, impressed Oda. He was seen as super big. His skin color was one thing as well, that the reports on the Chronicle of Oda say that was the first African man that Oda had ever seen. Oda asked him to stay with him, and this is what we know pretty much of the story of Yasuke. So there are a couple of elements that we will see also in the game that are historical reports of his presence, but then after that there's quite a bit of an interesting what if with him that will happen.
The initial volley, this is a concept that we had very early on, this really cool idea of the initial reveal of Yasuke emerging from the gun smoke. To us, that really ties him to Oda's battle style, and as probably one of the most important people to Oda in our game specifically. And what we're seeing here is a battle between the Oda clan and another rival clan, as a big part of the unification was taking down some of these rival clans for territory. What we see is Yasuke cutting people down with a great deal of ease. These are all moves that are going to be in the game. We specifically made sure all the choreography shown in the trailer are all taken directly from gameplay itself.
Or choose another path.
One of our big breakthroughs in this game is definitely this element of dynamic time, seasons, and weather. And we were kind of racking our brains with how to depict this in a trailer. And so one of the ways we thought about establishing their relationship was to kind of break the rules of time a lot. We're seeing them out of place a lot. They're seeing each other, but that might not be literally the first time they meet or lock eyes. And what we're seeing here really is kind of a culmination of both of their journeys.
Even though Yasuke has been on a journey as a fighter for Oda Nobunaga, does he think that this is the right thing to do? Now he's confronted to the destruction of the province of Iga. So sort of a tying two worlds together at this point.
In particular, the shot of them in the open field to us is really this moment out of time. It's them speaking to each other on a level that might not literally have ever happened, but it's really the moment that really brings them together. And just like a quick little note here, for those eagle-eyed viewers, you'll notice that the split screen is slightly different here, which was once again a deliberate decision we made. The other one has a bit more of a slant to it, maybe a bit more aggressive, especially if you're familiar with like anime or manga codes, comic book codes. But here, flattening it out a little bit establishes that maybe the relationship is different. I don't want to speak too much about that, but given the time period of our game, unification is a really big deal. And I think the concept of unification can mean very different things to different people. And it definitely resonates differently for our two main characters.
And we must look for it together.
So what we're seeing here is that Naoe and Yasuke do have allies in the world. Like every good shinobi, she has access to a network of spies and people that can help her and trade for information. And we're seeing here is somebody giving her information on the whereabouts of the person that she's looking for. In the game, you can switch between both characters as you please. They do have a life when they're not played, so that when you switch back characters, you can see them do something different.
Most of our black box level designs allow for both playstyles to work kind of perfectly, and you can choose the one that you prefer. If you want to go in and just be full of brawn, cut people down with Yasuke, you have that option. If you want to take a sneakier option, well, you'll see what that looks like in a second.
Rebuild.
This is my favorite part, the wink.
A big thing we were pushing for in our trailer was to really humanize our protagonists. Real emotional stakes, make them feel like people you could actually see in real life, especially given that Yasuke is based off a real person. We wanted to be authentic, at least somewhat, to a full breadth of emotions that he could portray.
And follow the blade.
We developed quite a bit of new tools for Naoe and stealth, and one of them is the grappling hook. And the grappling hook allows you to climb over walls that you cannot climb with Yasuke or without the hook, which opens different paths for Naoe. And there's quite a bit of hook points in the game, so within every layout that you're going to see, and sometimes to come in from a different entry point. So it's an integral part of their stealth arsenal, as she can navigate much faster into the open world.
And that's one of the big changes between Yasuke and Naoe. One of the key differences is her ability to take a much more vertical approach. And a lot of our locations are big castles, big tenshu's with these giant walls, and it offers her a whole new vantage point for a lot of these missions where Yasuke doesn't have necessarily the same opportunity.
Naoe can fight and hold her own against a few enemies, but she's not a big brawler like Yasuke is to take on a horde of enemies, right? She is light armored and she's quick and she's agile.
And that's definitely one of the key elements, her sheer speed. She's very, very quick and extremely lethal. But as soon as she's seen, the danger really rises for her, and she's got to get out of there as fast as possible. Is destruction in the game, Joe? Are some things breakable in our game, would you say?
Yeah, it's breakable in the game. Part of our dynamic world and the dynamism that we created for Japan goes also in the low-level destruction. So the weapons that we put a lot of little technological breakthroughs for our weapons, where you can destroy a large amount of props in the game. You can see him plow through the Suji doors. You could, destroy a full market if you wanted with the Kanabo. Obviously, the goal is still not to break everybody's stuff, but Yasuke can do it as well as Naoe, depending on the weapons they're using.
That's right. Yasuke is not the only one that can break through those shoji doors. Naoe can assassinate people through them.
This is a weapon that Yasuke can carry around in the game. It's called a Kanabo. It's a very heavy weapon that does a lot of damage. It's a little bit of a slower weapon compared to katana, for example. But it is a weapon that brings a lot of destruction as Yasuke wields it. And Yasuke is a strong man, so he is the perfect candidate to handle the Kanabo in the game.
I said, who do you serve? We are the shadows.
That serve the light.
The hidden blade has two functions, so it can come out as a regular hidden blade, like for stabbing people. But now we can extrude the second portion and flip it so that she has a dual wield using a smaller weapon called a tanto and her hidden blade at the same time. So that's a very fast, damaging situation for most people that are fighting her at that time.
And what Joe touched on is something that I know fans have been wanting for a long time, to bring back hidden blade combat, like being able to just fight with your hidden blade. And we brought that back with the Tanto style. It's very cool, very fast, once again, very lethal in Naoe's hands. When it came to the name of the game, that was something I remember Joe talking about, making sure we had some sort of base into the original lore. And this line was always something that really stuck out with you. We put it in the trailer as well as a kind of punctuation, shadows. They are working in the shadows to serve the light. And that's always been the callback we wanted to conjure with this. Paired with that is also our renewed emphasis on stealth in this game. There are a lot of new mechanics we've added. There are a lot of really interesting tools we've given Naoe. I think for fans of stealth, you're going to be extremely pleased with some of the mechanics we've added into the game.
And a little bit on a meta level for both characters, Naoe being a shinobi, but coming from a place that is not necessarily prominent or just at the forefront of the conflict, but a little bit more emerging back from the shadows. It fits with her. And Yasuke as well, coming from a background that's outside of Japan. They are lurking in the shadows, but they are doing so to protect the land. This is a very interesting narrative that will flow towards something pretty positive for us in the game and very satisfying in my opinion.
Assassin's Creed Shadows is the highly anticipated 14th installment in Ubisoft's globally acclaimed Assassin's Creed franchise. This ambitious project, developed by Ubisoft Quebec, ventures into uncharted territory for the series, immersing players in the rich and complex world of feudal Japan during the late Sengoku period. This transformative and chaotic era, spanning roughly from 1467 to 1615, is widely regarded as one of the most turbulent in Japanese history. Characterized by widespread conflict among warring states, shifting allegiances, and the relentless pursuit of unification, the Sengoku period offers a deeply compelling historical backdrop. Here, political intrigue and social upheaval intertwine, providing the perfect canvas for a narrative that seamlessly explores the interplay of stealth, combat, and cultural identity. The game has been in development for over 4 years, signaling Ubisoft's commitment to delivering a groundbreaking experience that surpasses its predecessors. With meticulous attention to historical accuracy and innovative gameplay mechanics, Assassin's Creed Shadows is set to expand the franchise's legacy significantly. Originally slated for release in November 2024, the game faced delays due to rigorous quality assurance measures and the integration of cutting-edge gameplay systems. The revised release date is now confirmed for March 20th, 2025, and it will launch on multiple platforms, including PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, Windows PC, Amazon Luna, and Mac systems equipped with Apple Silicon. Built using an enhanced version of Ubisoft's proprietary Anvil engine, the game promises a visually stunning, narratively rich, and highly immersive experience tailored for next-generation hardware. The storyline of Assassin's Creed Shadows unfolds in 16th century Japan, a nation deeply embroiled in the conflicts of the Sengoku period. This era, marked by the rise of powerful daimyo like Oda Nobunaga, who sought to unify Japan under a singular rule, is brought to life with stunning attention to detail. The game offers a sprawling open world that juxtaposes the serene beauty of rural Japan with the violent chaos of war-torn cities and battlefield-laden landscapes. The game also introduces a dynamic seasonal system, which deeply influences both gameplay and aesthetics. For example, winter transforms rivers and lakes into frozen pathways, offering unique traversal options, while summer brings dense vegetation that players can use as natural cover for stealth. These seasonal variations not only enhance the visual richness of the world, but also add strategic layers to exploration and combat. Assassin's Creed Shadows features 2 distinct protagonists, each offering unique perspectives and gameplay mechanics. Naoe is a female shinobi, ninja, who embodies the core principles of the Assassin Brotherhood. Her storyline focuses on themes of vengeance, loyalty, and self-discovery, as she seeks to uncover the truth about her lineage and her father's mysterious past. Known as the fastest assassin in the series, Nao's agility and mastery of stealth make her a formidable force. Her toolkit includes kunai, smoke bombs, and an extendable grappling hook that facilitates swift vertical movement and creative traversal. Naoe's narrative is deeply tied to the Assassin-Templar conflict, as she works to dismantle the influence of Templar-backed daimyo attempting to consolidate power. Yasuke is a fictionalized interpretation of the historical African samurai who served under Oda Nobunaga. His journey explores themes of cultural assimilation, loyalty, and redemption. Yasuke's combat style is a stark contrast to Naoe's. While Naoe relies on stealth and precision, Yasuke wields raw power, excelling in direct confrontations with his katana. The game introduces realistic climbing mechanics, requiring players to identify physical handholds on structures rather than relying on unrealistic free climbing. This adds an element of strategy to navigation and enhances immersion. Additionally, the new shadow manipulation mechanic allows players to create temporary zones of darkness, providing opportunities for stealthy attacks or evasion. Built on an upgraded Anvil engine, the game leverages next-gen capabilities to deliver stunning visuals and lifelike environments. Ubisoft has announced an ambitious roadmap for post-launch support. Claws of Awaji expansion. This DLC introduces a new region, a unique storyline, and the bow staff as a new weapon type. Seasonal live events. Players can participate in time-limited challenges and earn exclusive rewards, including cosmetics and lore-rich collectibles. Anticipation for Assassin's Creed Shadows is immense, with fans praising the setting, dual protagonist system, and innovative mechanics showcased in trailers. Industry insiders have described it as a revolutionary step for the franchise, seamlessly blending historical authenticity with modern gameplay innovation. The game will be released on March 20th, 2025 on PC, Amazon Luna, Mac, PS5, Xbox Series X and Series S. Now you can enjoy the screenshots without any interruption. Enjoy!